Hello, my name is Christopher Coleman with the Business Intelligence Group, and in this video I wanted to react to Shaq, Kenny, and Charles Barkley as they talk about the strategy, the various strategies in the league and how it's become a copycat league in terms of how some of these teams are trying to win games. And in this clip, it really highlights the need for strategy. I did a video not too long ago about the decline in viewership in the NBA. And one of the major factors, in my opinion, is that it is a copycat league and all of the teams are trying to chunk up threes. One, because it's easier. Two, it is the trend and for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And the analytics say that it's a better shot to take for a competitive advantage. And so I would say that there's a lot of flaws in that for entertainment. Maybe from a competitive stance it works, but because of entertainment, basketball, some of these sports leagues are entertainment leagues and not just a competitive league. You have to be able to balance them out. So I would like to take a look at what the Inside the NBA has to say. So let's see what they have to say.
Fan of Joe Mazzola, but yes, 108 threes. Celtics shot below 40% in the game for the first time this season. Celtics 14 of 56 from three. Bulls 19 of 52.
Wow, that's a lot of threes, man. And it's interesting. There's a great debate going on why our ratings are down and people are not interested in NBA. And the guy was on the great Dan Patrick show. He asked me about, is it threes or load management? And I said.
So one of the things that I really want to take a look at in terms of why the viewership is down, in the video that I made not too long ago, is the Pareto principle. Being able to Pareto the various problems and take the problem with the most bang for its buck. Like if you was to solve this particular problem, it will give you the max amount of return. And so if you was to prioritize the problems, I would say load management is further down the list. I think that the entertainment value is more important. When you look at the load management, if a player's is sitting out, it affects more people that actually go to the game, which is a lot less than those who view the game on TV. If I'm watching the game on TV with my family and we wanted to watch a certain player and that player was not available, I could just change the game and watch another game. But if you're actually going to the game, I can see how that affects you. If you are planning weeks in ahead, months in ahead, and you had your heart set on seeing a specific player play, that can be disheartening, and I can definitely understand. But I think that's a lot lower on the list in terms of priority for problems to solve. I think looking at how the different teams play the game, being able to ensure teams are maximizing the talent that they have, so that there's different ways to score, different ways to approach the game to win. I thought it was very interesting not too long ago when Russell Westbrook was on the Rockets with Harden, and how they had a small lineup, and I think their center was Capella. I think they might have traded him at that time, but they went with a small lineup. That was exciting to watch because it was something new. It was a different approach to go about trying to win games. But let's finish up to see what they got to say.
Every winning business has one thing in common. They ask the right questions. Not just any questions, but the kind that forces you to think differently and act decisively. Most entrepreneurs, they fail not because they're lazy, but because they're asking the wrong questions. Questions like, how do I get more sales? Instead of saying or asking, how do I create demand? Now that's a game changer. This is why I recommend the book Who Said So by Michael E. Parker. This business book challenges you to reframe your thinking and unlocks the power of better questions, the kind that drives clarity, strategy, and results in your business. So if you're ready to move from guessing to winning, grab a copy of Who Said So today, shift your mindset, shift your business. You already have the hustle, now get the wisdom to match. Remember, clarity isn't luck, it's strategy.
A combination of both. I don't think guys want to, number one, guys are making a lot of money and don't want to play back-to-back games. That's going to turn the average fan off. But if you're just going to come out and have a three-point shooting contest every night,
don't you think that's coaching style too, though?
Well, if
I'm coaching, I'm going to run plays that are different, that would not allow.
No, but it's a copycat. It's a copycat league.
Ding, 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 ding. I think, there has to be different strategies to win games. And because of, Steph Curry, who is a generational talent, is able to shoot the ball really well, doesn't mean everybody else should be shooting the ball. The Golden State Warriors have built their team to facilitate that style of play. They have a coach who was a three-point shooter, a great shooter with the Bulls and Kerr. And it suits his coaching style because of his experience. It suits Steph Curry well, and they've developed players around that. When you look at somebody like Draymond Green, who has a very high NBA, basketball IQ, being able to set up screens, be in the right position to get rebounds, kick it out. And so it works for them because there's a system behind it. There's plays, there's coaches, there's players that all buy into that system to win. And if you have other teams that try to copy that just don't see the operational excellence to facilitate that type of play, you don't get the same results. And you see that in the airline industry where you see, for example, Southwest Airlines, their strategy was to focus on a market that was, focused on vacationing. And so other, customers that, maybe fly are doing it for business purposes, and usually the business is paying for that ticket. Whereas someone vacationing, they saw that, well, maybe this individual, this target audience doesn't want to spend 30, 40, 50% of their vacation on airfare. So they began to take out a lot of the things that were suited for business travelers, and they took out some of those things to make it less expensive, to bring the price down for tickets for those vacationing. And as a result, they were able to save money and to provide a lower price for customers. Other airlines tried to do the same thing, and it was a disaster. And so I think other teams, they should definitely look at their personnel, be able to come up with a strategy that helps the organization win games that's unique to them. A great example, a couple years was Minnesota Timberwolves. They had two centers. They had two centers with different abilities. One was good at shot blocking and rim protection, and the other one was good at playing around the arc, shooting threes and rebounding. And so it was very unique style of play. Everybody was excited to see how two centers were going to work, and it really matched up because the city, Minnesota, is called Twin City. So it worked out because the Twin City, there's two. I think the skyline has really two big buildings, and it kind of suits the team well when they had those two players. But since then, they've traded Anthony Towns to New York, but it was still interesting to watch.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. Why, like, if I'm trying to win a championship, why, if I don't have the same personnel as you, why would I use your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, but because it's a copycat league. These coaches, they see other people doing it, and they're so scared to coach their team.
Everybody don't have a.
Charles Barkley brings up another point. Ding, 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 ding. Some of these coaches are afraid to coach the teams the right way because the players have a lot of power. And the reason why they have a lot of power is because of how the contracts are structured. There's a lot of guaranteed money, and if you sign a contract, no matter what, they're going to get paid that money. Conversely, in other leagues, it's very rare that the contract is fully guaranteed. And so in the NBA, you can see quite often players goes to a certain team to get a certain amount of money and certain incentives. Once they sign the contract to get started, they find a way to get out of playing for that team and transfers that contract to another team. And so it really turns off fans when that happens. Sometimes, it was good that the league changed how the contracts were done in terms of having max contracts and super max contracts, and the penalties that go along with it, because there was some super teams and it just made the game unwatchable and non-competitive. So that was one good step, but we would like to see more in terms of entertainment value. And I think the entertainment comes from seeing different teams with different strategies and unique ways to approach the game come together and finding ways to see how they would win. So let's keep it going.
I understand. First of all, you're 100% right. But I think these coaches are scared to coach these players because the players have so much power.
And no disrespect to the Chicago Bulls, but there's no reason they should ever shoot 53s. Like, there's not enough great shooters
in the NBA
on their
period.
team. No, let's start there. Okay. We could talk the other one, but they took over 50 tonight.
Yeah, Levine took 11, Patrick Williams took 9, Lonzo took 7, and then a bunch of guys took 5.
So when you look at all these threes these players are doing, you could see it in the YMCA, the street parks and things like that. Everyone is trying to shoot threes because Steph Curry has made it so iconic. But it would be interesting to see someone like Levine or Ant, who are very good at driving to the hole, that, plays were developed for them to do so, to get higher percentage shots. And, there's a lot of athleticism in the league. And another thing that I've observed is that because the athleticism is so pristine and is so prevalent, that these players are relying so much on their athleticism instead of having a higher NBA or basketball IQ. And I point back to an example when LeBron James was on a talk show, or I forget, it was a podcast, where he began to talk about players having basketball IQ, and how sometimes his coaches would flip the play the opposite way. If you play Madden, you know what I'm talking about. You flip the play, and LeBron James had no problem being able to just execute on demand, whereas other players, they couldn't do it. They just simply could not just in their head figure out how to run the same play, but on the opposite side, just flipped. And so I think this is another thing, another insight that, the NBA should take a look at, as well as coaches, is how do we increase the NBA's the NBA players, their IQ, their basketball IQ. Definitely there's players with high IQ, usually at the point guard, but LeBron James, you have someone like Paul George and Chris Paul. They have great basketball IQs. And, someone like, Chris Paul is not the tallest, not the strongest, not the fastest, but his strength is in the half-court offense, who is able to slow the game down and methodically and decisively figure out how to score and facilitate to get other players to score on his team. So let's keep it going.
There's no great shooters on their team to shoot that many. I'm singling them out because they played in that game tonight. Right. But I could go down the list.
Well, the Bulls also set the record a few weeks ago or a week ago with the Hornets with the most missed threes in the history of the NBA.
It's just that just helps Kelly's point.
Yeah, it's just an understanding of, like, there is a style of play to be confusing. Do you want to confuse the defense at times and say, you think we're doing this, but we actually get that?
And I got to say something you said in the back.
What's that?
Remember we watched the game. It was a 2-on-1.
Oh,
and the dude could have got a layup
on the Knicks,
and he went out to the 3-point line. It was a 2-on-1,
and he ran to the 3.
And he instead of just getting a layup, he flared out. And Kenny says, "Did that dude just flare out on the 3?" I said, "Dude."
So my question to the panel is: will it ever go back to where each coach, each city has a different strategy?
I think at first
Utah played a certain
I think
way.
Denver did it
a certain way,
and that's when they won the championship because they had Jokić, a guy who can play inside and outside, who will take timely threes, but he doesn't live on the 3.
Because I'm tired.
Ding, 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 ding. A unique strategy to win. When you look at somebody like Jokić on the Nuggets, who is a big man, who is a strong facilitator and passer, who is, a lot of triple doubles, He's a unique center. There hasn't been a center like him ever in the NBA. And so being able to use that as a way to win games is exactly what I'm talking about. What is our unique way or a unique brand of playing basketball so that we can win? And if each city, each team brought their own style to play, being creative, looking at the NBA, the various players in the draft to see what unique abilities that they have. Somebody like Zion, he gets hurt a lot, but he's a big, powerful player, and he just has a unique build for the NBA. There's a Japanese player on the Memphis Grizzlies who's short, but who is very dynamic off the dribble, can still score, can facilitate. You have someone like Ja Morant on the Memphis Grizzlies who is phenomenal at slashing and driving to the hole. Somebody like Russell Westbrook, who's probably one of my favorite players, who is just has a lot of energy. You look at somebody like Wemby, who's very tall, who can shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor. These are very unique athletes where you can build a team around to leverage their unique skill sets. And when you talk about skill sets, somebody like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kobe copied a lot of his moves from Michael Jordan, but you can see working in that triangle offense that you had to be a strong mid-range shooter, and they both were. But Kobe didn't rely so much on his athleticism as Michael Jordan did. Kobe Bryant was very tactical and technically proficient at the moves that he did. I've seen interviews how he broke down certain things, and he was phenomenal at developing the pump fake, how to drive the ball, and it just, including his mama mentality, that it created Kobe Bryant. And so, Tim Duncan, he used to shoot the ball off the backboard. If he was at an angle, he would shoot it off the backboard. Just not a lot of fluff, very technically and just proficient at what he did. Same thing with Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Shane Battier. I kind of put them all in the same bucket where they're very fundamentally sound and they don't have a lot of fluff. They just put the ball in the hoop. They just play basketball. And you need those type of players in the NBA, but there's different. Some players are very good at dribbling the ball. Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas, Steph Curry, Lonzo Ball. Some of these players are really good off the dribble. I remember Skip Malou or Steve Francis, very good at dribbling the ball. And so it's fun to see from an entertainment perspective to see the various talents in various different situations and how you can elevate and highlight those talents by the brand of basketball that you play.
Tired of seeing that damn top of the key 3-man weave, dribble hand, pick off the shooter.
I think
I'm tired of seeing two guys stand in the corner, run here, and then run to the other corner.
The one team you mentioned earlier, the Memphis Grizzlies are not running that kind of a system.
Not at all.
If you want to watch, you don't want to watch this basketball, the Memphis Grizzlies. The only thing I want to say, just to stand up for the league, is Jalen Williams in Oklahoma City, man, they're fun to watch. Victor Wembanyama,
no question.
that is special. The talent in today's game is phenomenal.
No question.
And I think it's still a great game.
But
dumbass 3.
So I'm looking up now the top teams in the NBA in terms of the standings, just to see what, to see the teams. I haven't really been following it lately, so I have no idea. And so I'm looking now to see the team. So top 5. Let's take top 5. So you have Cleveland, number 1, OKC, 2, Boston, number 3, Memphis Grizzlies, number 4, Rockets, 5, New York, 6, Dallas, and Orlando, Clippers, Milwaukee, Denver, Lakers, and so on and so forth. So Cleveland, they've been at this a while. They've added Donovan Mitchell, I think it was last year, and he brings a unique flavor to the game. He's very dynamic off the dribble. He can get to the rack. He has that scoop layup. OKC, they had a lot of draft assets because they, with the trade of Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, and Kawhi Leonard, not Kawhi Leonard, but Paul George and Russell Westbrook, they got a lot of stocks. And with, Chris Paul went there and he still made things happen, still made it to the playoffs. But they got a lot of draft assets, and so they get to pick high in the draft. So they got a lot of talent there, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading that. Boston, they have a great team with Tatum and Brown. Those are both, small forwards that can score the ball, great defense. Memphis Grizzlies, they play a brand of ball. They grit and grind, great defense. They hustle. They don't make things easy for you. Houston is kind of the same thing. A younger team can go up and down the floor. Good defense. But they're coached very well in Houston. And so, that's it. That's all I got to say with that. I just think from a business standpoint, looking at business strategy, what uniqueness could you bring to the marketplace? Everybody's trying to copy everyone else, trying to copy everyone else's recipe for success. And I think to build competition and where everybody can win, everybody can make money. But what can you bring to the marketplace that's different from someone else? You have a unique offering, a unique business proposition that will highlight you in the marketplace, where you can sell, or you can increase your prices because you could serve your customers better than anyone else, because you segmented and niche down to a certain point that your target audience and customer really loves what you have to offer. So that's all I have to say. I'm Christopher F. Coleman with the Business Intelligence